You know that some of you know it better than I because they are scientists. To produce somebody who is a world-class scholar in some subfield in mathematics or physics, usually that doesn't take place in one generation. Okay? You cannot have just a genius in the middle of Zimbabwe who goes to school and ends up being the top mathematician in Stanford, MIT, Berkeley, or Harvard. Usually you need an infrastructure. You know, you need a generation of solid scholars who bring about a second generation of even better scholars, of international level scholars. And then you get really the world-class people. You don't come out of the blue, to be a world-class scholar. What we are witnessing, in a nutshell, is the destruction to a significant extent. We cannot just paint things all in black, okay? Of one of the rare achievements of the Soviet system, that is the educational infrastructure at the very top, in scientific fields. Okay, and this is, of course, a significant problem for the future. Now, I have met people who are very optimistic people, and they tell you, Stephan, these people who are leaving, they are really useful because they send money to Armenia. Okay. And then, since there are fewer people in Armenia, you see, they can get jobs. If you push this logic to its extreme, which is known in Latin as reductio ad absurdum, then probably if there is only one individual left in Armenia, there will be full employment. And he's going to get such money, remittances from abroad, that he is going to live really better than we do, I think we should encourage, therefore, further immigration, and this will be a magnificent place. Okay? Bottom line, this immigration, however, beyond the joke, has a significant dimension. In the second half of the 1990s, it was estimated that approximately in 95, 96, $450 million were sent from abroad, mostly Russia, by the way, not the West, to Armenia as remittances. This was 96. Since then, the figure moved way above $1 billion a year, even maybe even close to $2 billion, because some of these transactions are not transparent. You have people traveling, taking with them $500 and so on, and people don't put those dollars automatically in the bank because they need to use it. So a lot of the remittances or this type of outside money is not, is not transparently computed in, open. So that has been a dimension of this phenomenon that I believe it reached just 2 years ago, before this massive recession and economic crisis. It was above 1.5 billion, if I am not wrong. I didn't check the figure before coming here, but I am pretty sure about that. The latest economic crisis and recession has been a double blow for Armenia. The gross domestic product of Armenia has literally collapsed by 15%. Now, to give you a sense of what that means, you know that probably a lot of you do not particularly enjoy the current economic situation in the United States. Over the past year and a half or 2 years, a lot of people complain. Some have lost their jobs, their business are not working, they are unable to get loans. You should know, however, that the gross domestic product of the United States has declined by less than 3%. So imagine what it means to have 15% in 1 year. So in addition to that massive downfall, of course, that has generated massive unemployment in Armenia and so on, that poor population has also been exposed to a significant drastic reduction in the remittances sent from abroad, because some of the people working in Russia or Ukraine and so on have themselves faced some difficulties. Now we are going to move to the fourth trend: dispersal of the Armenian population from the former Soviet and non-Soviet near abroad. You remember that when the CIS, Commonwealth of Independent States, was created, in the Russian political language, the word near abroad was coined, you know, referring to the areas just around Russia, the former republics and so on were referred to as near abroad. So what I try to do here is take a look at where the Armenian population is concentrated in the world. Okay? To sum up the argument in this part of the lecture, without going into every single crisis that has led to that situation, it can be said that in 1988, a lot of Armenians were concentrated around Armenia. Okay? You had about almost 500,000 Armenians in Azerbaijan, including mountainous Karabakh Armenians. You had another 470 in Georgia, in Jalaketi, Tbilisi, and so on. You had, so far as I remember, I have all the data, but I believe about 70, 80,000 in Abkhazia. You had similar numbers in Chechnya, and so on. So when you took a broad look at the situation, you would find out that just around Armenia, including Armenia, you had about 4.5 million Armenians, all located around Armenia. Okay, not to mention Iranian Armenians, who were very close. Today, what we are witnessing as a result of various crises, the mountainous Karabakh, the Abkhazia problem, the Chechnya problem, Javakheti difficulties, along with the melting of Middle Eastern Armenian communities, we see a trend whereby the Armenian population is concentrating farther and farther from the homeland. Okay? The concentrations are now in Russia, the United States, France, in Europe, okay? Whereas the Armenian population in the Caucasus itself, or in Persian Azerbaijan, is, has declined enormously. That is the argument of this part of the lecture, which I have summed up very quickly. What we have today is a concentration of the Armenian population in the far abroad, okay? Far abroad, okay? And you know it yourselves, most likely, most of you are from the Middle East, I know quite a few among you. To take a flight from Aleppo to Yerevan is nothing. To take a flight from San Francisco, for example, to go to Yerevan is quite an adventure, it takes, and it's expensive. So, these are factors that need to be considered when you discuss reality. Fifth trend, the emergence of the Russian Armenian super diaspora over the past 15 years. It is estimated, again, the figures are not absolutely certain for a particular reason, but it is estimated by many, many people, Russian ethnographers, specialists of demography, geographers, and so on, that today there are at least 1.8 million Armenians in Russia itself. Some figures go up to 2.2, 2.3 million Armenians in Russia. Now, to tell you what that means, essentially, the Armenian population in Russia today is larger than that in North America, South America, and the whole of Europe combined. Okay? Combined, all of the communities combined. Okay? Now, when you want to know the number of the population in Armenia itself, when you don't accept the current census data, that there are about 3.3 million Armenians in Armenia. So what you can do, for example, you can look at the Armenian population in Abkhazia, in Chechnya, in Azerbaijan, and so on. And these people have left, most of them. Not all of them, but a lot of them have left. Now, you can assume, for example, that in a kind of particularly abstract way, that all of them, okay, went to Russia. You see, the maximum possible went to Russia. Okay? So you do that with about everybody. and then you try to find out where the rest of the Russians